On this week's episode of The Video Store, Josh gets altered carbon on his Curb Your Enthusiasm, while Frank's Love is Blind for Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective Agency, and we take the Blackcoat's daughter to Sonic with John Mulaney and the Sack Lunch Bunch, while Pete Davidson, alive in NY, goes guns akimbo on Killer Joe, and Josh and Frank obeys Giant, color out of space, and Motherless Brooklyn with the Invisible Man.
Beautiful. Welcome to the Video Store Podcast. We are here to discuss movies, TV shows, and everything else we've watched on digital disc, streaming, in theaters, etc. I'm Frank.
I am his co-host, Josh. Hello, Frank.
How's it going,
Are you
man?
there?
I'm here.
I can hear you through the little telephone string line that we have running 1,700 miles.
How are you feeling 2 days before Super Thursday?
Well, you know, the independence and the line, you guys know what it is.
This is that podcast, that thing. And
we're not political here, so we're not going to get into it. I don't know why you did that. Don't make me political, Frank.
This is a very malarkey light movie podcast. Thoughts and trailers.
That's a segment. I believe you.
Dun, dun, dun. Up first is I don't know if it's a remake or no. This is called a spiritual sequel to the 1992 horror film Candyman. Returns to the now gentrified Chicago, so we got some political commentary. I like it. Where the legend began. This is directed by Nia DaCosta. This is also written and produced by Jordan Peele. It is a very good-looking horror movie and a trailer that was very effective on me. And I'm super excited for this movie now. It's going to be like week one, maybe day one for me to go check this one out. June 12th in theaters.
Yeah, no, I love what they do with music every time. Whoever does this shit, with like R&B music being turned into horror music or rap music it's just, I don't know why, it works. And it works super well.
I mean, think of the summer, or no, it was like February when Us came out, and that 5 on it, man, I just couldn't get it out of my head.
I learned how to play it on the piano.
Nice.
Yeah, and I even, because it's keyboard, I was able to do that whap, 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 the crazy shit. It was stuck in my head. I listened to that soundtrack, and they have maybe 3 different versions, because throughout the movie there were some different versions played. But back to Candyman, anyways. I don't know if you ever saw the original.
I did.
Okay, all those fucking bees, man.
Very creepy. Stood out as I saw it probably like right before I was a teenager. Definitely stood out as like very fucked up and like psychologically messed with me more than most of the horror movies of that era.
Yeah, no, that's fair, because I mean Tony Todd's ridiculous, and the amount of real bees and like non CGI they had at this time. So it was a lot of practical and actual effects and just really fucked up shit. I think Tony Todd really drove this role home, and for those who aren't familiar, you may remember him as the morgue at the Final Destination.
Oh yeah, he's the mortician. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's just naturally creepy, imposing. Also, sweetheart of a guy. When I used to go to horror conventions, which is something I should do again. They're fun. He was always there. He's just a mainstay and a pleasure to meet. So, I'm in on Candyman. This could be, I mean, it's way too early to tell. It's the beginning of March. Doesn't seem like it's going to be a big year for, like, blockbuster movies and things we're excited about. But horror movies, this could be a big horror movie year.
Yeah, totally feasible. I'm surprised we don't have a sequel to 2021 called 2021 Part 2.
Oh, yikes. Moving on, this month, actually, by the time you hear this, the first episode will be out, is an FX series starring the rapper Lil Dicky, also created by him.
Dave Bird.
30-minute comedy series called Dave. It's about a neurotic mid-20s suburbanite convinced he's destined to be one of the greatest rappers of all time. Now he's got to prove it to everyone else. You can take the lead on this one because you're familiar with Lil Dicky, his rap, and I guess his comedy work.
Yeah, this is a guy that just took a bunch of his money, came up middle class, but and maybe not even middle class, maybe a little better. I mean, his parents may have had some money, but the thing is, so he took his bar mitzvah money and made a rap album and really went at this full heart and full bore. And if anyone's heard Lil Dicky, this dude is extremely talented. He's has the lyrical abilities of any of the decent rappers that are out there today. It's not somebody that does anything like mumble rap or shenanigans, and his comedic ability, and he really stretches his music videos. And that's really how he got his name, is he made these ridiculous music videos and created a very large following from it. One of the good ones, Save Dat Money, where they spend the entire video finding ways to save money on the video, like asking dudes like, hey man, can we just like borrow this car for 15 minutes? And they crashed somebody else's rap video shoot and stole all the chicks for like 20 minutes and all kinds of ridiculous stuff. But he's just been a comedic and talented person that's made some really interesting music. And if you're a fan of his comedy, and if you're a fan of stuff like would compare this to
Lonely Island?
And ish, maybe more Always Sunny. I think he's a smarter dude, but also has a realness about him. So I don't know. I think it's going to be genuine comedy, because this is a story somewhat about his life, and obviously dramatized, but definitely something to check out if you're a fan. And I think it's cool to see him in something like this, because I always thought he had the chops for it, and I think he could be a comedic force if he discovers that in himself. He's like, fuck, I want to act and be funny as fuck, because the dude is just fucking hilarious.
Cool. Yeah, it's something I'm looking forward to now, because I've heard people talk up his music. It's a comedic voice and a music that I'll probably enjoy that I have no idea about, so looking forward to getting into that. Wrapping up thoughts and trailers, we have two films that had brief runs in 2000.
Is that what you did? Wrapping it up?
Okay. There's two movies. Thanks for interrupting for no reason, but to make a bad joke.
Yeah.
Two films that had brief runs in 2018 in little film circuit, and kind of got held off. Didn't really get put out until now. Finally found some distribution. And they also feature some of our favorite actors. The first one is Banana Split. This will be out March 27th. Limited theaters. You'll probably most likely be able to catch it on demand on iTunes, something like that. It's about the over the course of the summer, two teenage girls develop the perfect kindred spirit friendship with one problem. One of them is dating the other's ex. And you're interested in this because it features Hannah Marks of Dirk Gently fame.
Yes.
I thought the trailer looked decent. We're getting to the point where, like, teen coming of age, teen sex comedies, they don't have to just stand out by being realistic. And I think the one thing that I get from this trailer is that these seem like real girls with real problems, which used to be such a hard thing to find. I just think of the early 2000s stuff that we grew up on. So there's some potential here, and I'll check it out just because these seem like real people, real problems. And I don't know, I'm a sucker for coming of age stuff.
That's why I sent it to you.
Yeah, so I can see this being pretty good.
Because you're a sucker.
Yeah, I'm a sucker. What's your thoughts on it?
Pretty much express my sentiments. People I'm interested in, a story that seems genuine and heartfelt, and something that would just be another entertaining, good popcorn flick that maybe takes you on a little bit of an emotional ride through some of your past memories and situations. Maybe, obviously, we haven't been in directly as a female, but it can relate to the time frame and situations that they face.
Yep. So looking forward to checking that one out. And then similarly held back for a couple years. And, I bring this sidebar. Lengthy titles, man. I was just thinking about successful movies usually have just short titles, that just say something about the movie. And unfortunately, 7 Stages to Achieve Eternal Bliss is just, I don't know. I mean, that being said, Eternals...
I hated typing it to you. I hated searching for it and sending you the trailer. And I actually copied and pasted it from the message I sent you.
I guess maybe it's a peek into the sense of humor, because the original title was even longer. It was 7 Stages to Achieve Eternal Bliss by Passing Through the Gateway Chosen by the Holy Storch.
What the fucking mortal fuck?
Yeah, so I don't know. If you want your movie to be successful, perhaps shorten up the title? I don't know.
You were never really there or here.
There Will Be Blood.
There Will Be Blood.
Jaws, Fight Club.
Well,
Gremlins.
yeah, I mean,
but there is
Gremlins.
There is Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, but that movie didn't make $1 billion.
What about Bathtub?
Yeah, there's something. There is something you could do with the situation.
The Holy Tub.
You guys come up with your title for a movie that is about a small town couple that finds a perfect apartment in the big city, except there's one catch. The apartment is home to the ritualistic suicides of a deranged cult. They call them self-murders. The reason why we're interested in this is the cast, which includes Taika Waititi, Ray Seahorn, Kate Micucci, Brian Posehn, and Dan Harmon in a rare acting performance. I remember Harmon talking about making this movie on the Harmontown podcast years ago. So I kind of forgot about this, and you bringing up this trailer has me excited for, a comedy horror movie that has some potential and is, going to have my interest by the cast alone. This one's going to be out sometime this year. Doesn't have a release date. I would expect, just like Banana Split, for this to be a limited theatrical run at best with, like a VOD buy same day as theater option wherever you get your digital movies.
Yeah, that's probably fair to say. I just thought it looked very different and would have scenes that were just completely out of the ordinary while bringing this crazy story together. So
yeah, both those movies are 90 minutes or less, which is also a very good idea when you have simplistic indie ideas.
We're a title for a movie.
Cool.
90 minutes or less.
Let's talk about things we watched this week.
Okay.
And we'll begin with some TV time. I'm interested to hear what you thought of Altered Carbon Season 2. I didn't get pulled in the first season. A couple of my friends really dug it, though. And all I've heard so far is disappointment in Season 2. Do you share those thoughts and feelings?
Maybe I wasn't as attached as other people were to Season 1, and that's why I was able to see it in a similar light. I don't know. I get when people build worlds and dimensions like this that people get really engaged in those worlds. And however, this was a show about people that could basically change bodies anytime they wanted by transferring their stack, they would call it. It's almost like a microchip in your neck to other bodies. Some people were against it, others were blah, 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 blah. I didn't have any problems with it particularly. Yeah, it's different when you have a completely new main character played by Anthony Mackie, because the first season was Joel Kinnaman. However, Joel Kinnaman was the stack of this Asian dude. And I apologize for not knowing his name right now, because I didn't pull it up. It's generally a good show. It's a fun sci-fi. Don't overinvest in this kind of stuff. It follows the overall storyline. I don't know. I didn't have too many issues with it. It was visually still pleasing. They still had the AI Poe, who has named himself after Edgar Allan Poe and kind of ran the hotel in the first one, and he's a very interesting character. I don't know. Some people may hate it. I was okay with it. Not the end of the world for me.
Cool. And this is I got it mixed up with, there was like a similar Amazon Prime show around the same time that was like a Philip K. Dick adaptation. This is more of a it's not like an anthology. It has a linear storyline.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. It's all each season is its own storyline, and there's still some connection to the initial play, and the protagonist is kind of the same person, but over time, body changing and that kind of stuff. Cool. I don't know.
It just seemed like too much, too complicated for me. I just wasn't
a lot.
in the mood for it. I don't know if I'll ever be in the mood for it, but I'm glad you enjoyed it. And maybe, if you're looking for some out there sci-fi stuff, and you're right, like fans of sci-fi get so caught up in the world building and the roles and, the future picture it paints that, stuff like this is pretty polarizing. Usually there has a hardcore following. People could give a fuck less.
Yeah, I should look up the Reddit threads of this show and people destroying it and seeing really what their grief is. So maybe I didn't care enough.
I mean, that's a thing, dude. I stop. If people have a different opinion than me, I don't want to prove them right. I don't want to argue that my opinion is right. I'll be curious.
I don't actually participate. I just wanted to know.
Yeah, if they like detest something I enjoy, I am curious at this point in my life. I do like to hear people explain why they don't like something. Like
Right.
when I went and saw Uncut Gems for the second time, majority of people I went just didn't like it, thought it was boring. And I was like, it's kind of like a weird thriller. Like, you thought it was a thriller? Like, they just hated Uncut Gems. And I was like, that's interesting.
Wow.
I know.
Maybe they thought, because there's a lot of people that go, Adam Sandler, I'm going to see this movie, and know nothing about it.
I feel you, but are people really going to see? I mean, if they watch the last 5 like Netflix Adam Sandler movies, like what were they expecting? I don't know. I could see that back when like Punch Drunk Love came out, being caught off guard or something, but not now.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, everyone's perspective is different, man. Some people thought they wanted a certain thing out of a movie and they didn't get it, and they feel unjustified for it.
Yeah. So I haven't been watching much TV, but one of the shows that I've been checking out, every week is season 10 of Curb Your Enthusiasm. I'm surprised you're not into this show more. I feel like it's really your type of sense of humor. Larry David has just created this character, which is a hero for those people that just that are bothered by a lot of things in society and just couldn't speak up. He's the social assassin. And season 10 storylines include, Larry dealing with Donald Trump. There's I don't know if you follow, it was actually retweeted by the president, but he makes interesting use of a MAGA hat. He deals with the Me Too movement, and the fact that Jeff Garland looks a lot like fucking Weinstein comes up a lot, and that's hilarious. And he also starts I forget how he phrased it, but it's basically like a revenge business. Like Mocha Joe's is this coffee place that he just can't stand, so he's opening Larry's Lattes right next door and is trying to prove upon the business model with all the weird, like very specific intricacies that he wants in a coffee place. Okay. And so I mean, it's a very specific brand of humor. It's about 8 episodes into this season, and I'm loving it. Vince Vaughn is in this season. He's a recurring character that I enjoyed. And I just really love this show. I'm not someone who like worships Seinfeld. I enjoyed that a lot. I not as much as Curb Your Enthusiasm, which is consistently more than any other comedy in like the past 2 decades, just made me laugh and been, I think, relevant throughout. So I highly recommend that. That one's on HBO.
It's always on HBO.
Yeah.
And don't they have it on a couple other platforms, though? I thought...
No, you can get HBO stuff through Prime and everything, and it might be on Hulu, like the earlier seasons, but the season 10 you can only get through HBO right now.
Okay. Fair enough. So, Frank, I watched another trashy show. You know me. It's what I do.
My boy loves his trash. You are a raccoon of streaming.
It's kind of like I just sit there and with my little raccoon eyes and go, and then somebody turns the light on and I run away.
What trash did you watch this time?
Yeah, Love is Blind. Love is Blind, Frank. I thought it was going to be a bunch of blind people going on a dating show.
How did we not get there yet?
I don't know. I figured that's what was going on. They were like, these blind people will only hear each other and don't get to know if they're giant or small. I don't know. So anyways, what this show's actually about is about singles who want to be loved for who they are rather than what they look like, have signed up for a less conventional approach to modern dating. However, that summary, they say they'd rather than what they look like. However, the show purposely, I think, vetted people to a certain demographic where no one person would really get the shortest end of the stick.
Mm-hmm.
However, I thought it would have been much more hilarious if people talked to people that, really did have trouble dating in their life, that were unattractive, and they went on these dates in this method where they all get into pods where they can't see each other and then they can only hear each other. And then they have to decide. It's a segmented show.
You're right, dude. Because these are,
no.
Go
ahead.
This
bitch out.
Go ahead.
Okay. So first they go on the dates in pods, and then within roughly maybe a week to 2 weeks, they decide who they're going to ask that they want to marry them, and then the people accept. And so there is a little bit of drama. There's one dude and 3 chicks that are like, I want that dude. And the first chick he rejects. When you see the rejection happen and you hear it and they have her on camera and you see her head twitch to the left, I go, oh, she's crazy. And she is, dude. This chick is insane. You could tell very quickly from the early parts the girls that were just, you know, a big ball of meatballs, and you could tell the guy that something was going on with that as well.
Okay, it's a weird description.
I know.
It's weekly. That's interesting. They're not. This isn't bingeable.
Right. So it is now because I think the whole thing's out.
Okay. No. Next episode is coming out Thursday.
I know it's the reunion show, and then it's
my bad. Sorry.
So I'm gonna watch that bitch. I'm going to watch that bitch. I have to see how some of this shit happens. So anyways, I kind of placate and look at the people that I'm like, all right, that is totally not going to work. So anyways, back to the segment. It segments out to where then they go meet each other in person. They go to these, it's vacation in Mexico. They hang out. Some of them bang, some of them don't. When they all meet up with each other again to say, hey, what's up? Haven't seen you. Hey, how's it going? Some of the guys are like, dude, it was a crazy night. We like fucked for hours. And there's like 2 dudes who are like, oh yeah, that's so cool. And then you cuts to them in the side off. Why aren't we fucking? It's embarrassing for a couple of these dudes, and embarrassing for some of these. It's a funky show, dude.
It sounds like it's kind of. I'm not kind of. Is it exploitive? Like, I don't like shows that just are mean to the people that are on them.
No, it wanted to make a good show and but. I mean, it panders a bit, but I've seen worse, like much worse. There, I was like, I agree. I don't like shows. Like, I don't like the show on Netflix called Flinch, where they purposely do shit to people and they find that hilarious. This was a show where they're like trying to build romance. And let me tell you, the soundtrack is so fucking hilarious. So this is what happened. They'd be like, I'm fighting with you. And she'd be like, I'm fighting with you. And then the lyrics would come on to be like, don't fight, you hurt my heart, don't fight. And then later they'd be like, I love you again, I love you again. And then it'd be like, making up is so great, making up.
Oh, yeah, dude. If there's any art to these shows, it's in the editing room. It's how they piece these things together. For sure.
It was so fucking funny. So then they go and move in together, and then they kind of meet their parents and shit, where they have to introduce, say, hey, by the way, this is my, like, there's one interracial relationship, and honestly, it's probably 2 of the coolest people, and the one that I totally thought was like, if I'm betting on anyone to say yes to each other, it's these 2 fuckers. And it's crazy because the girl has never dated a white guy. The guy has dated an African-American female before. However, her father is very into the black movement and in staying in the race and that stuff. So bringing this white guy in and having to introduce and say, hey, I met this guy 2 weeks ago and we're also engaged. Hey. Some of those situations, like some families were super accepting and some were like, what the fuck are you doing? So then it all leads up. They move in together. They find out some more shit about each other. Some people struggle, some don't, whatever. This one poor dude who was a doormat for that crazy bitch, I felt so terrible for, as she was trying to steal the other dude at points where they all met up. Anyways, then they get on into their weddings and fucking people either say I do or they don't. And how these situations panned out were so hilarious. There was only one dude. I'm not going to say who, obviously, but one dude said I don't. And the chick flipped a fucking shit, ran out. She's on the grass. She fell down. She's freaking out, all this shit. 2 girls said no. And the one guy just turns after she walks out, after saying, she doesn't. He's like, hey, I just know this is really awkward for everyone. And I just want to say I love all you guys and I really appreciate you coming out. And, I'm sorry that you guys had to go through some of this. And then just walks away all chill. And I'm like, man, the approaches of people are so vastly different. But yeah, it was it's reality trash, man. That I wanted to see what the fuck they were doing.
All right, I don't want to hear any more about the show.
It's over.
Dear God, no thanks. But I'm glad you had fun.
Dude. It's fucking crazy.
I get it. I watched a lot of
Who made this
these
shit?
type of shows, and I see the addictive pull. It's sports for people. It's like sports, but with people's emotions. So
This is like what people feel like are interested in when they watch The Bachelor and shit, huh?
okay. I finally
That's a
am
question.
holding true on something. I don't know if I promised, but I
you
agreed
did a
to
deal a while
watch.
ago.
Josh and I, many episodes ago, I think it was like last summer, said we were going to give each other TV shows to watch because there's some shows, and I get when there's a show that you like, but there's no one to talk about it with at work or your friends, and you think like you guys would like this show, like I want to share with someone, and I understand that frustration. And Josh watched Fargo,
All 3 fucking seasons in like
all 3 seasons
2 weeks.
in 2 weeks. And I understand why you thought I would love Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective Agency. This was a former BBC show. There's only 2 seasons of it, 18 episodes. They're about an hour an episode, and they're all available on Hulu. And it's about a holistic detective, Dirk Gently, who investigates cases involving the supernatural. It's created by Max Landis. It's an adaptation of Doug. I'm going to fuck it up. The dude that did
Doug, I'm gonna fuck it up.
Doug, I'm gonna fuck it up. Douglas Adams, the guy that did
You fuck up Adams?
I want to say Lyman for some reason, but it's a totally different guy. Anyway, the dude that did help me out here, man. My brain.
You want my brain to do something?
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Oh.
Yeah, this show is an adaptation of the writer who did that. You got Samuel Barnett, who I've never seen before, aforementioned Hannah Marks and Elijah Wood in this. And it's an interesting show. There's a lot of weird sci-fi stuff going on there. Dark humor, gore. So if you're a genre fan, I think you dig this. I wish, my one main wish for this show, if I could change it, and I think it would have made it longer running and more successful, is if the individual mysteries weren't stretched. There's 2 mysteries. I'm not done season 2 yet, but from what I can tell, each season is one long mystery.
Yeah.
And there's not even really much side quest. It's just, I wish it was more serialized, where, 1 or 2 episodes were a mystery, like an X-Files or something like that, or Doctor Who.
Sure.
Because if you're not interested in certain characters or beats, then, they're just kind of dead points. So more of the stuff worked for me than didn't work, and I'm giving it a recommendation. I dig it. It's definitely a unique show, and thanks to it, Jade Eshiti, who plays Farrah Black, I think she's great. I'm really interested in see what she does. I'm just like in love with her. And
Nice.
Hannah Marks was cool, and Samuel Barnett, like he definitely has a lot of energy and unique.
Yeah,
energy.
a lot of great energy. And just really brought the character to life, I think, with his whimsical and just general playful nature.
Yeah, it's a charming, weird show. Good chemistry between the actors. Just I think the direction would be the weak point in it, and I still would suggest, if you guys are looking for something to check out, it's not that much of a commitment. It's 18 one-hour episodes, very bingeable.
Well, I'd clap if I had 2 hands, Frank, but nope.
Yeah.
Clap.
So hopefully in a week or 2, I'll wrap up and give my final thoughts on the completion of the series.
And now, do you want to make that bet again, or is that and then we can talk about leftovers next year?
Sure. Maybe we do our award show, though. We should do that first. Hand out some awards.
Well, that was something I tried to do in January. Didn't happen. Broke my hand. February is completely out for me as a month. However, I was thinking about maybe having a segment or something where we have people recommend movies, and we pick something, and we get that at least one movie from our recommended viewers that are of a pool of 2, 3 that send something that we have to watch and then review on our show.
That'd be interesting. Yeah, I always take suggestions from people.
I want to engage with the people.
Yeah, for sure. I'm very bad on social media. I noticed, like, once I stopped sharing stuff on social media, it didn't really affect the growth of the podcast. In fact, like, it got more popular the less I advertised. So now I don't even try. I just put the episodes out, and it seems to work.
Yeah, we've hit 15,000 downloads. Thank you to the people.
For sure. Yeah, I'm eternally grateful for people that listen to this podcast, because there's a lot of movie podcasts out there. So
there's probably 9 million of them.
Yeah. But what we provide is an honest layman's review of a bunch of movies. So continuing with that, let's talk about the flicks that we chose to pick this week. We have 10 films that we checked out between the two of us. And I can be quick with some of these. So starting off, Blackcoat's Daughter is on Netflix. I was aware of this title for quite some time. It's a 2015 movie. Piqued my interest because the director of what was it? Gretel and Hansel, Osgood Perkins. And I heard some cool things about Gretel and Hansel. I missed its theatrical run, unfortunately. And people were bringing up this Blackcoat's Daughter film. So I decided to check it out.
Right.
I thought the performances were interesting and really good from Emma Roberts and Kerna Shipka, as well as Lucy Boynton, who I'm not familiar with at all. But I thought the pace of the film and the direction was poor, and I just lost interest in it. And considering it's like a 90-minute movie,
right?
That's I hang there and I like weird stuff. It just, I don't know. It just didn't have focus, and it's a problem with a lot of these horror movies that I don't dig when the talent's there, is that you can't hold my attention. You're not going to scare me because I'm drifting off.
It's a milkshake that melted too early.
You have to pull people in. Like the best horror movies just like suck you in. You want to look away, but you can't. That's the
right. You're gravitating towards it, and it's just pulling you deeper.
This had me looking out my window at my phone and shit like that.
Yeah, that's not a good horror movie. I've been there. You're like, what the fuck is happening? There's a guy, he's wearing dark things. Yeah, man.
Yeah, exactly. It was very confusing. So hopefully Gretel and Hansel is a little bit better than that, and a step in the right direction for that.
Do you know why they flipped the names around?
Probably to stand out, because if you go search Hansel and Gretel on IMDb, there's like 12 of them.
What if it was like H and G?
They've done that probably. There's a million versions of that. I caught Sonic the Hedgehog in theaters, and I liked it more than you, man.
Because you're all fucked up when you saw it, man.
I was on drugs, but I thought it was funny. I mean, it's just empty, shallow entertainment. That's what I expected. But it worked for me because Ben Schwartz, I think, was a great pick for Sonic. I think he captured I don't know. I would say the energy of Sonic, but Sonic to me, I was like not a character. I didn't read the comics or watch the cartoon, so I really had no identity, no expectations of what Sonic was. Actually. Yeah, but I like Ben Schwartz's imagination, his version of Sonic, and also James Marsden and Jim Carrey are all in on this movie. They bring a level of energy they usually don't see in these movies, like on a level that like David Cross did with the Chipmunks movies, which I think is necessary for these things to work.
I agree.
So there's really nothing to garner from this movie except for some entertainment. Jim Carrey still got his fastball, man. Like if people give him a chance,
yeah, that's what I wanted to talk to you about. It's
still there. Yeah, and James Marsden is just a guy that's going to give maximum effort and throw himself into these roles, and I respect that, and I think that's why he succeeds, despite like kind of really not having any like great personality traits. Yeah, he's not like inherently interesting. He's just hardworking, and that's fucking cool, man. Like,
I totally agree. He's also in Westworld. I don't know if you recall that, but I agree.
Same thing. Same thing shines Westworld. Like he's not a uniquely interesting character, but he does the best with what he's got, his talents, and then what they give him in a role. So
I respect the fuck out of that. But Jim Carrey, dude, went full balls in on this Robotnik shit, right? Like as hard as he could.
Yeah, I mean, it was Jim Carrey turned up to 11 that we haven't seen for. And it has me interested in checking out that Happiness show on Showtime.
I don't think it's called Happiness. I thought it was called Talking.
Whatever it is, it's on. We'll look it up.
I watched a couple episodes. Or Kidding.
Oh, Kidding. Okay, it's on Hulu now, I think.
I watched a couple episodes, and then I just decided to wait. There's, that, Gemstones I want to catch up on. Just when they're really good shows and I really want to pay attention, I don't want to flood myself. I really want to watch it and then fucking fully commit.
Yeah, and I think Jim Carrey, I know he had that awful drama. I don't think either one of us watched that murder mystery thing.
23 Numbers?
No.
The other one.
More
I know what
recent, yeah. But other than that, I feel like if he's picking a role, he's really interested in it, and it's going to be something off the wall. So I want to see more Jim Carrey, man. I miss him.
I know. I love you, Jim. You are my fucking childhood. You're my everything, man.
And then I reviewed and enjoyed John Mulaney, The Sack Bunch Lunch. This was like a Christmas release on Netflix. I think I reviewed it like January. What'd you think of it, man? Yeah.
Oh, man. Fuck me then. Yeah. Well, this was something that I was like, oh, yeah, I need to go finish that. It was something I started once, fell asleep because it was already pretty late. I love fucking Richard Kind.
Richard Kind, yeah, you're right, dude. He's so great.
I have loved him since Spin City. And there's nothing, John Mulaney makes this really great kid show for adults who like kids or some shit. I don't know. It's just really perfectly awkward and finds the right balance of unique dryness, and the characters like, okay, girl talk. No, girl talk. Just Richard Kind and Jake Gyllenhaal with the Music Man was two really perfect segments. I don't think we'll be lucky enough to see something like that again, unless they do another one of these and they bring some of these characters back, which would be amazing. But I think these are characters that you would find in like an off-put Pee Wee Herman show, in a sense. Really found it enjoyable, though. It's not for children, though, and I think in a manner could deceive kids that are streaming around Netflix if they have full access. I know there's Netflix Kids, but if you came across this, somebody might just be like, hey, you can watch this, Johnny.
John Mulaney's brain is brilliant, hilarious. I just love his unique perspective on things. I think he's one of the most talented stand-up comedians. And with this show, and like you said, just like taking Richard Kind and his appreciation and knowing what to do with him. And this show should not work. Like, if you try to explain what it is, it's like a children's variety show, like a warped Sesame Street thing that definitely toes the line of being charming and wholesome and then just outright disturbing. Yeah. And honest, there's nothing like it. And, like, give John Mulaney a blank check. Like, a network or streaming service, let this guy make shit. Like, that is the type of stuff that I am so thankful that we have these streaming services for, that would never really get us, in networks like FX, but would never get in like a network television setting. And he's fucking awesome.
They'd be like, we're going to take Jake Gyllenhaal from the Zodiac? Yes. From Donnie Darko. Uh-huh. Yeah, oh god. And we're going to strap a xylophone to his chest.
Gyllenhaal, what is he, the Music Man or whatever?
Yeah, the music. That's what
fucking, I am so here for crazy Jake Gyllenhaal. I love that man. I know we don't know who these actors are, but God, I fucking enjoy him.
Well, we basically know you.
I want him to do something with like Jim Carrey. Like, that would be fucking awesome. Bring those guys together. I want Jake Gyllenhaal to just do some dark, weird, comedic shit. I know he has it in him, man. Like, the sky's the limit for that dude.
He's got full range. And he's another one of those people that go fully in all the way and definitely commit. And I did see like an interview he did afterwards about the Sack Lunch Bunch, and where he was told he didn't want to do full Mediterranean. He's like, okay, I'm going to be a European trying to be a Mediterranean or Caribbean or
Uh-huh.
And I think he exactly did that in the weirdest way, and just all of the awkwardness fits so perfectly. It's like you didn't watch Tim Robinson, I Think You Should Leave, by chance? I don't know.
No, I did, and I loved it. I know that's like
it has that same awkward puzzle piece feel.
It's more structured than that for sure.
Yeah, of course, because they're skits. This was more organic, I think.
And this also is like, it's more familiar because it's like I got the Sesame Street kind of Reading Rainbow vibe or whatever.
Sure. But it just had the peculiar offbeat humor that shouldn't land when it does, and that kind of situation. So, I don't know. All in all, super great. John Mulaney, Nick Kroll. Some point, I will kidnap Nick Kroll, replace him with myself. I don't know why people say I look like him. I don't see it. But about 1 in 3 people say, hey, you're Nick Kroll.
All right. Yep. Enough about your celebrity lookalikes.
Yeah.
Moving on. I love John Mulaney. Pete Davidson.
Yeah, speaking of people I look like.
Yeah, you are like Nick Kroll and Pete Davidson fucked.
That's it.
Not a huge fan of the guy personally. Everything I've like heard him say publicly makes me just roll my eyes. But I gave his stand-up a chance, and I dug it, man. It's unforgiving. He's awkward in it, and he's honest, and that's what I appreciate about like the art of stand-up. So don't always agree with the guy, and you know, you don't have to like the person to appreciate the art. I dug this, man. I thought it was pretty good. I watched most of the Netflix stand-ups, and I think this is, you know, better than average. And obviously, if you're a fan of Pete Davidson, you should check this out. But even if you're not, you might enjoy this. I thought he had some interesting pieces in there, and just like he's like one of those extroverted introvert people. Like you can tell he's uncomfortable, but he's so out there, which creates this weird energy on stage that you don't usually see in most stand-up specials. They're usually very polished and rehearsed.
More Norm Macdonald-esque, where just kind of start creating the world, and as you build it, live in it.
Dry and loose, and like sits in the awkwardness sometimes, and definitely references it and plays off of it. So I thought it was an interesting performance and one worth checking out.
Okay. All right. Cool. Well, maybe I will. Maybe I will. Frank, have you seen a trailer for the next movie I'm going to talk about?
Speaking of not liking the person, but the art. Yeah, the director apparently said some dumb shit and is getting a lot of hell for it. And like, hey, if you're an idiot, just shut the fuck up when your movie's coming out. And like, just
I don't know anything about what
bad.
you're talking about.
I mean, but the movie is not just the director, but you're talking about Guns Akimbo.
Akimbo.
Yeah. This looks really cool. It's not in any theaters by me, but you can rent it digitally or buy it digitally.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Tell us about it digitally.
Well, fucking Harry Potter gets guns screwed to his hands. And that's probably all you need to know about this movie. Probably. Also, that Samara Weaving plays an incredibly psycho, entertaining person. This movie is about a guy that relies on his new gladiator skills to save his ex-girlfriend from kidnappers. Yeah, I don't think plotline here is really important. It follows just a pretty simple linear storyline. However, the visuals are good. The action's great. The fight scenes are good. There's a lot of happening in this movie. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Gamer with Jerry Butts.
Oh, wow. Really?
Yeah, just
I didn't see that one, but I'm kind of aware of the energy.
I never saw Gamer. The reason why I saw Gamer was because Marilyn Manson's Sweet Dreams was the trailer, and the trailer looked super fire. However, you get to watch Dexter fight Jerry Butts in that movie. That was one of his last movies before he got really sick. It's and now he's doing better. But I don't know if you knew that. But what's his name? Dexter, Thomas Richard something. I don't know.
Okay.
But
screeching halt.
Just gonna let me drown.
Amen.
C. Thomas Howell. I don't know.
Yeah.
Is that it? Fuck yeah. But yeah, they fight in this weird Frank Sinatra dance fight scene. It's really crazy. You should watch that. But this was just action-packed, just a good popcorn flick. Violent, brutal, all of that kind of thing. Nothing bad to say, if you're expecting that. So don't think it was a particularly waste of time or the action was terrible. Like when you go to watch Six Underground and you watch this, you actually get what you want when you watch this.
Okay, cool. I'm going to check it out. It's something that's been on my radar. I watched a very violent, strange movie as well that, again, I missed out on because it was early 2010s. Killer Joe. Have you ever seen this one?
No. Sounds like a Killer Joe. Interesting.
It's like Hicksploitation, if that makes sense to you.
Yeah, it's not as good as Tucker and Dale versus Evil, basically.
Not a horror movie, but very violent. Our boy Matthew McConaughey plays a cop who moonlights as a hitman. He agrees to kill a hated mother of a desperate drug dealer in exchange for a tumble with the young man's virginal sister.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's a lot going on there.
Virginal? That's an adjective?
Yeah, and Juno Temple plays Dottie Smith, the young virginal. She's the
virginal?
The young virginal girl. She's an interesting actor. I like her. I think she can do some cool stuff. Will probably mostly be in stuff like this. Emile Hirsch plays her brother. Thomas Hayden Church plays her father, and Gina Gershon is like the new wife, not the mother of the children. And they do a really good job playing over-the-top white trash people. It's some ridiculous stuff going on there. There's a scene where Matthew McConaughey forces Gina Gershon to simulate a blowjob on a piece of fried chicken drumstick. And that
turns me on right now.
That is the most memorable scene in the movie. It's very disturbing, but it does have a sick, twisted sense of humor and just a weird portrayal, like a very, very dark version of like a My Name is Earl type setting, like to the point of like trauma levels of like just sexuality, open sexuality, and violence, and just the way that people behave and talk. It's very interesting. It's on Hulu. It's entertaining. Not all of it worked for me, but definitely worth checking out because it's just so unique and just fucking weird. Also on Hulu, downshifted and just watch like a very basic documentary. I don't know if you're a fan of Shepard Fairey, but Obey Giant is the title of the documentary that like profiles the life and work of him up until 2017. So you follow, and you can tell like he's really holding the hand. So this is all like approved by him, almost an official documentary, like kind of thing. But I think it's pretty fair. He seems like a guy who is critical of himself and wants to tell, as true of a story as someone can. And I just thought it was interesting. I'm just fascinated by street art. This is definitely no Exit Through the Gift Shop or, anything like any of the Banksy documentaries, but an interesting one nonetheless. And if you're, you have any kind of interest in that community or, the man behind that artwork of the Andre the Giant Has a Posse or the Obama Hope poster or in the Obey clothing brand, this is a cool one. It's a cool documentary. It's, worth checking out.
Can I tell you that I just got a shirt that has Hypnotoad on it that says Obey?
Dope.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet.
You look like if Hypnotoad fucked Nick Kroll and then fucked, what was the other one?
Come on, you can do it. Pete Davidson. His name is in the notes.
If they had a three-way and all their juices mixed together, that's you.
Yeah, except without the talent.
And that's beautiful. Yeah, you got the looks, but you didn't get the talent, kid.
Yeah, what are you going to do?
Speaking of having the looks, but not the talent, Color Out of Space. I was really excited for this movie. Coming off of his performance in Mandy, Nicolas Cage immediately signed on to do another,
fucking weird movie.
Acid trip horror movie. This is with Richard Stanley, and this is a H.P. Lovecraft adaptation about a family that moves to a remote farm area. Have you heard that before? And they want to escape the hustle of the 21st century. So they're working on their new life, and a meteorite crashes in their front yard, melts into the earth, and infects the land and the property, and just weird shit. It's one of those space rock comes, and everyone's acting fucking weird. The animals are weird. The people are weird, and it creates crazy scenarios where
it's fucking weird.
People aren't acting themselves, and it's just this family's getting torn apart by alien powers and mystic shit. And there's some cool looking visuals to it. And Nicolas Cage has his that Mom and Dad movie, similar energy to that.
Yeah.
It's just screaming nonsense and threatening his children. Yeah. So, I mean, to me, it was pretty good. There's some stuff I liked about it, but it was disappointing because I hyped it up in my head. You can rent it digitally. I got it on Redbox, and I haven't done Redbox in a while, so I got that. And the next movie I'll talk about using their you can reserve stuff. It's pretty dope. If you get their app, you earn points. So if you're watching movies on a budget, like a lot of us are, don't forget the Redbox, because if you can't wait and you want to check out something on demand, it's a third of what you pay for a digital. You just got to get off your ass. And usually they're in a Royal Farms or something where you can...
You lost everyone there, Frank.
Yeah.
You lost everyone.
I don't know. Next time you get gas, hit up the Redbox, man.
We also don't have Royal Farms out here, so you got to speak more national, 7-Eleven.
Next time you visit your local gas station brand, check out...
Insert here.
Yeah, insert local gas station fucking...
Insert local gas station fucking...
Yeah. Look, man, I
just repeat what you say, and for some reason it's funnier.
Yeah, you're the talent.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, that one, it's pretty good, but if you just turn down the hype a little bit, you might enjoy it more than me. I think you would dig it.
I might enjoy it because I have no hype over it.
Yeah, honestly, I want to rewatch it, man, and just with my expectations tempered, I'll probably dig it a little bit more.
Just calm the fuck down, why don't you?
The other film that was a part of my Redbox coupon for signing up on that app,
Oh, so cool.
Motherless Brooklyn. Did you check this out?
I have wanted to because you know me, I love Edward Norton, but fuck, it seems like there might be some sadness and some emotions I'm just not ready for right now.
Not that sad, no. It's not that deep, man. Edward Norton, very talented dude. I think he needs some restraint or some pushback. I think he would be really good if he could find someone that he could collaborate with that would just say, hey man, like you need to hit the editing room and trim some shit. This movie is 2 hours and 25 minutes. There's no reason for it to be.
That was another concern.
This is a passion project. He's been wanting to adapt this story for over a decade. It takes place in New York City in 1950s, and he's an investigator with Tourette's syndrome, and he really leans into that. You okay? Did you lean into something yourself?
Yeah, I did.
So that performance, whenever someone is, representing anything like, Tourette's syndrome, that's going to be controversial. Edward Norton's not a very liked guy, so I know some people won't watch it just for that. It's got a deep cast. He called in favors for all his buddies. You got Bruce Willis, Alec Baldwin, William Dufresne, Bobby Cannavale, Leslie Mann, getting buff Ethan Suplee. So the before picture Ethan Suplee.
Puffy Suplee?
Puffy Suplee. And the talent is there. It's a really good looking movie. All the actors did a good job. I mean, Bruce Willis, he's pretty much just mailing it in at this point. But he gave above a cop-out effort, I'll say that. He probably likes Edward Norton more than he likes Kevin Smith.
Yeah.
So, if you're interested, it was something I had to cut up into an hour and 15-minute chunks. I just couldn't sit through the whole 2.5 hours, but I did finish the movie, and I thought it was pretty good. Just unnecessarily long. Could have been like a 1 hour and 40-minute movie.
But you were comfortable with the Irishman runtime.
Yeah, not quite Irishman runtime, and definitely not Irishman quality. It's trying to be a character piece and also a detective movie. Don't do that, man. Just make Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. Just like just watch a Shane fucking Black movie. Don't watch this.
That's fair. Sometimes you do too much, but he is somebody who's always pushed for the love of what he does and the acting art. I think I agree. If somebody reined him in on the right level and found that compliment like he did with Brad Pitt, because it's hard to find that right person to fit in the right storyline, and sometimes when you force things, you end up with things like this, I guess.
Yeah. Final film we're going to talk about today.
The final film.
And I'm glad for once we both saw it for the same episode.
I did something for you.
Hopefully you're glad you did. We both checked out The Invisible Man in theaters, directed by Lean Whannell and starring Elizabeth Moss. I'll give the quick description, the plot summary. When Cecilia's abusive ex takes his own life and leaves his fortune, she suspects his death was a hoax. As a series of coincidences turn lethal, Cecilia works to prove that she is being hunted by someone nobody can see. So, out of respect for the people who haven't seen this yet, let's try not to spoil anything and talk around.
To be fair, the trailer spoils everything.
Let's not tell anything more than a trailer would then. What'd you think? Let's just go. Did you like it? Did you love it?
I thought the intensity was there, and I thought the thrill and I felt the horror, and I think honestly, as far as the shots go, they had me staring at things like
exactly.
Like,
this is
motherfucker.
My critique of Blackcoat's daughter going full circle. Invisible Man sucks you in. It's so gorgeous to look at. The way it's cut and shot and directed just keeps you captivated and sucked in. And yeah, it's intense and it was unsettling. Like, I love shit that makes me uncomfortable.
I thought there was an invisible man in my house yesterday.
I could have used the pause button in the theater. You know what I mean? Like, it is really good, man. I loved everything about it.
In the chair.
Yeah. To me, this is top tier horror.
It's good.
The fact you get Elizabeth Moss, who I think is like one of the best actresses doing it right now, to lead a horror movie, a fucking remake of Invisible Man, was a big get, and she was fucking perfect. And I like that they took this concept and, you know, use it as a fucking metaphor for an abusive relationship, an abusive like controlling relationship, and it fucking worked so well, man. Like, I love the shit out of this movie. It is by far the best thing I've seen this year as far as like 2020 releases, and that's why I was thinking this might be the year of horror. Like, this is great, and you got to see it in theaters. Like, I'm telling you, people, like, check this out in theaters while it's in there. It's a great experience.
No, I think you hit it right there where it really was just it pulled you in deeply, and the just Elizabeth Moss really held this roller coaster of emotions and conditioning. And I think the engagement between the relationship and the, you know, physical horror was what made it that much more impactful, because you knew this guy's intentions. His intentions were always malicious and always terrible. From the start of the movie, that was what the underlying thing is. Like, this guy has controlled my fucking life in every aspect and won't let me exist in my own, you know, as my own being. And the tough thing is, to, although dramatized, there's probably a lot of people that live in relationships like that every day. I really hope that people can make their way out of it, find the right support structure, find the people that are going to help pull them out of those things, because regardless of any situation, domestic abuse and all that stuff is just miserable. Sorry to get on a pedestal there, but
no, I mean, it's not a controversial statement at all.
No,
yeah, I mean, I'm
not saying it's controversial. I'm just, you know, it's getting off the movie topic and more on, but I felt more intensified by having that part of the story exist with what was happening. However, and it was just on the trailer thing, definitely ruined some of the scares. However, I watched it afterwards, so the scares were still good for me, so I would not recommend watching the trailer for this one. I do this so other people don't have to.
Trust us, Josh.
Yeah, don't watch this trailer. It will fuck the movie experience up quite a bit. But Elizabeth Moss just rode and showed the physical characteristics of this character going through this, and I think the shock value moments were super heavy. However, I'm sorry to get one more thing, but if you discover that somebody is fucking invisible or some shit, wouldn't you then just carry around a bottle of like spray like all the time, or carry around, you know? I would carry around, I go to the Dollar Tree, I'd buy some fucking silly string, right? I have silly string all over the place.
You would get fucking silly string. I should offend
silly string all over the place, and then boom, I could fucking see you. The idea that you're not constantly carrying something to identify something, someone. I'd be fucking carrying something around all the time.
Yeah,
that's it.
Weird critique, weird flex. But yeah, man, Elizabeth Moss is a fucking star, and she carries this movie. And she's bigger to me than I feel like her place in Hollywood so far, because really, she's done Handmaid's Tale and Mad Men, two of the best dramatic TV series of the past 20 years, easily. But mostly it's just indies and horror movies so far, and I hope she gets more stuff, because she's fascinating. I love her. I also really like the portrayal of the guy. They really made him out to be a monster by the way they shot him, and like the scenes they show him, and just how they display him. I thought it was genius. And the tech for the Invisible Man, like the special effects that they use,
Pretty good.
Really good. Everything worked. Everything was just, I thought, awesome. And I love this movie, man. I'm just going to pimp it all year, and especially horror movies, but all good movies. If you have a chance, see it in theaters. It's always the best way to check out a movie, and stuff like this even more so. Like, this is the way to see it.
Yeah,
and support it so we can see cool shit like this.
We've completely gotten away from our old rating system, but we both give this one an employee pick. Yeah, booyah.
Hell yeah.
I had to remember what it was.
Yeah, it's a double stamp employee pick.
Get your stamp out, Frank. Stamp it.
That's it for me. Anything else you want to say?
Yes, we're doing this podcast on my lovely mom's birthday. So happy birthday, Mom. Appreciate you putting me into existence. So that was kind of cool. Yeah, that's about it. I really do think we should do that segment, though, and have people recommend us some movies, some of your favorite films that we have not reviewed. And I think we could both kind of pick one for each other or something of that and get some engagement, man, and review some stuff and piss some people off or make them think, wow, I thought about that too. I fucking love that part too. You never know. So see what happens. See what happens. It's a brand new month. Fuck February.
Yeah, happy birthday to your mom. She's a great lady, wonderful lady. And
nice lady.
I don't have any shout outs, so that's it for me. Thanks for listening.
I shout Frank out. Frank's been shouted out. Thanks to Frank.
Hopefully we can continue to make this a almost weekly effort. We're doing good. We've done 2 in a row, one more, and that's a podcast streak. We have done it before.
Yeah.
We will do it again.
Look, I'm coming out of a fucking month of misery, and I'm still in this cast, and I'll be out of it soon, and I'm kind of coming back to life and trying to keep up with the content absorption of a god like yourself.
Oh,
so
God.
It's an ongoing battle, my friend. It's an ongoing battle.
Thanks for listening.
The fuck do you think I watch Love Is Blind for?
Get the fuck out of here.
On this week's episode of The Video Store, Josh gets altered carbon on his Curb Your Enthusiasm. Frank's Love Is Blind for Dirk Gently's holistic detective agency, and we take the Blackcoat's daughter to Sonic with John Mulaney and the Sack Lunch Bunch, while Pete Davidson, alive in NY, goes guns akimbo on Killer Joe, and Josh and Frank obeys giant color out of space in Motherless Brooklyn with Invisible Man.
You're still here? It's over. Go home.